Hi, I'm Andy. Today we are going to explore the typical living quarters in Beijing, the quadrangle. I will tell you something about the FENGSHUI and the stories behind the quadrangle. What is a quadrangle? Quadrangle is composed of one-story houses in 4 directions with a courtyard in the center. It has over 2,000 years history in China. The biggest quadrangle in the world is the Forbidden City, which is located in the center of Beijing. This photo is the earliest remains of the quadrangle in China. Over 700 years ago, the Mongolian conquered China. Kublai Khan built the grand capital in Beijing. It was called the Dayidu In Mongolian, which means where the Khan lived. It's called the Khanbaliq in Turkey. When Marco Polo traveled to grand capital in 1275, Beijing was considered as the golden paradise on earth. When you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. When the Mongolians ruled China, they did as their predecessors did. They copied the Chinese essentialism, which was based on Confucianism. The grand capital was designed according to the ancient book, The Rite of Zhou, the artificer's records. Beijing was built as a chessboard. There's a central exit line goes through the Khan's palace in the center. Government offices were located on the south of the palace, and the markets were located in the north of the palace. The streets were 24 steps wide from south to north. The lanes were 12 steps wide from east to west. It's called a hutong. The quadrangle was just like the chess pieces on the board. The maximum length between each hutong was about 70 meters. No one would like the public hutong go through their quadrangles, so the biggest quadrangle was 5 layers. The quadrangle is also a product of the feudal hierarchy of ancient China. The emperor's palace was circled around by the quadrangles. They were different in sizes. The door, the wall, the step, the roof, and the color painting of the house were various according to the owner's ranking or social status. So the quadrangle were not creative and looked very similar. Okay, here we are, Cao Xueqin's Memorial Hall. I will introduce the quadrangle first and tell his story later. You may know that most traditional Chinese architecture are symmetrical layout and have a central exit line. The gate or door is in the middle. Why the door of the quadrangle is not in the middle but on the southeast corner of the courtyard? First, the narrow lanes hutong goes from east to west. The door on the south is easy to access to neighbors. Second, because of feng shui, the position of the southeast is called xun, symbolizes the wind. Easy in and easy out with the help of wind, just like a sailboat. After we enter the door, this is the first layer of the quadrangle. We'll find the screen wall in front. The screen wall is not only a decoration but also protection of the privacy of the family. It could block the strong cold wind blowing into the quadrangle. According to the feng shui, the evil spirit would come out at night and always go straight. When they bumped on the screen wall, they would turn around and go back. The screen wall could protect the family and keep the fortune of the family. On your right, there's a small room. Normally, it was a private school of the family. There is a moon gate on your left. We'll visit that area later. Let's go to the main courtyard first. This is the second layer of the quadrangle. The main house is facing south and could obtain more sunshine. It's brighter and warmer than the other houses, so the elders would live in the north house. It's a filial piety of traditional Chinese culture. The courtyard is spacious, so people could get more sunshine. The house is not very high because winter is very cold in Beijing. The low house is good to keep the people warm. The main house is located on north. It's the Khan position according to the feng shui. It symbolizes water. Traditional Chinese architecture is made of wooden structure, so water overcomes fire. The east wing room is normally occupied by the oldest son of the family, because east is more honorable than west. The crown prince lives in the east side of the Forbidden City. This room is furnished as a study. You can see the stationery on the table and the calligraphy on the wall. We'll take a look at the main room on the north. It's just a showroom, but you can look around and see the wooden structures of the house. There's a long scroll of painting. You can see the original Tiananmen Square and the Forbidden City looks like. The owner of the house is very famous in China because he wrote a classical novel called The Dream of Red Mansion. It's based on his own life experience. Long story short, it was a tragic love story and the decline of the Jia family. Let's go to the third layer of the house. This house is for the unmarried daughter and her maids. There are bamboo and magnolia in the small garden. Let's go back to the courtyard. People in Beijing like to plant a crabapple tree in the courtyard. It symbolizes fortune. Let's take a look at the western wing room. Normally, it's occupied by the second son of the host or the son of the concubines. Here is a display of the old Beijing toys: fan, kite, handmade daffodil flower, silk doll, and also a miniature of this area over 100 years ago, garlic market cross. We'll go through the moon gate to the first layer of the quadrangle. This house could be the guest house. There's a display of exquisite porcelain and other handicrafts. The house in the south is used for doormen or other servants. There's a display of the food culture from South China. Generally speaking, it's a 补时补时. Don't eat the food which is not in season. Well, that's all for today. If you want to know more about Chinese culture, please subscribe my channel. I'm Andy. See you next time. Bye bye.